Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. How are we doing? As obviously stated in the title, we are going to be talking about tracking behavior, and then I'm going to be breaking down some portion sizes as well. So anyone that started tracking or been tracking for a while, and you just want to kind of understand a little bit about how to better approach it maybe, or maybe you're fine and you just want to kind of get some more info on smarter ways to track, then this is the place to be, all right? So main take homes are going to be to explain some tracking behavior, some tips that can help you throughout using the app specifically and other things. And then later on, I'm going to be breaking down some portion sizes, serving sizes using these wonderful WW scales and some common items, rice and pasta, that we're going to likely have around the house. So first of all, let's just go into a little bit of tracking behavior, and let's talk about something that may relate to you in terms of an example. All right. So anyone that's new may be able to relate to this, or newish may be able to relate to this. So let's say you started your plan. It's going really well. You've had a great week or 2 weeks of tracking so far. You've been doing everything meticulously every single day, tracking water, tracking activity, tracking your food, snacks, everything. You've been on the ball and it's going fantastic. Then a couple of weeks pass and maybe a day happens where you end up working really late into the evening and you end up skipping dinner, you miss it, you then go a little bit off track what you had planned, and you haven't tracked that dinner in the evening, all right? Then let's say the following morning, you then get up, you have to rush to potentially deal with the kids, with the family, or you've got an early meeting first thing. You wake up late maybe because you worked late last night, and then you miss breakfast in the morning, all right? Then you've missed 2 meals of tracking and you kind of think, well, what's the point? You've gone off track a couple of days and you think, oh, it's going to throw you off your journey, all right? Now, with this being the case, who can relate to that kind of day or that kind of behavior where you've missed a day of tracking, you missed 2 days of tracking, and you think, well, maybe it's not working. Maybe I've tried to do too much, okay? So with that in mind, if you can relate to that, I think that that's a great way for us to start on this tracking behavior. So there you go, Sammy, amazing. Yeah, weekend seems to be the one. Amazing, Lee, yeah. Fantastic. Cool. Lania, there we go. Amazing. So with this being the case, I want to break down why there's nothing wrong with that way of really rigid tracking. It's much more beneficial to cut ourselves a little bit of slack. All right. So this is what I mean. So whilst that approach has great intentions, because you want to get everything done, everything tracked throughout the week, do your activity, do your exercise, do your sleep, and all the snacks and everything in between, it's not realistic. Okay. And this is why, because life gets in the way, right? Things pop up, okay? Responsibilities pop up. Days are never perfect and they never go the way we want them to. So here's my first example of how I think you might want to approach tracking a bit differently with that given example in mind, all right? So tip number 1, which is actually what I do. I just track Monday through to Friday, okay? Monday through to Friday is my tracking, and I am on the ball with everything, all right? So activity, snacks, breakfast through to dinner. But then when it gets to the weekend, I like to give myself a little bit of slack. I like to think, well, I've been disciplined Monday to Friday. It's okay if perhaps over the weekend, I just track my activity. Or I don't worry about anything I have if I eat maybe with some friends, or I don't worry about what I'm having for dinner if I want to go and have, I don't know, something that's a takeout. I cut myself a bit of slack because I've had such a good Monday to Friday, all right, that I almost feel like I need that little bit of downtime at the weekend and that little bit of rest from being at the screen as much and tracking and not being able to allow any flexibility, all right? So that's tip number 1 for you, is maybe don't get so hung up in every single day of the week being perfect. If you just maybe do Monday to Friday, then that might be a better balance that works for you. All right. So that's tip number 1 on tracking behavior. Now then, the second one is specifically to do with snacking, which I have touched on before in posts and previous lives. But with regards to snacking, it can be something that is quite challenging when we maybe don't know what to go for and we reach for something subconsciously that's nearby. So with regards to snacking, what I find is actually helpful is pre-tracking that in advance, okay? So if I know, for example, every single day, Monday through to Friday, my snacks are going to be pretty consistent, which for me is some dark chocolate, apple, and banana. Every now and then I chuck in some cashew nuts as well. If I factor that in every single day, Monday through to Friday, and I plan it in advance, then it will give me my remaining Smart Point allowance aside from those snacks. That does two things. That, number one, shows me how many Smart Points I've got left to play with throughout the days of the week, aside from snacks. And number two, it means that I'm not going to go off track snacking and looking for other things because I've already accounted for what I want, okay? So that's a little bit of a tip for thinking a bit more in advance of the week ahead. So say if it's on a Sunday or a Monday morning, you think, right, what are my go-to snacks that I go for? All right, well, I know that I like going for that, and that, but I sometimes overindulge on one thing. So what if you go, okay, well, I know I like chocolate digestives, and there's nothing wrong with that because they're great, but why don't, instead of just having a pack nearby, I limit myself to having 2, 3 a day. I factor them in advance, pre-tracking, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. And then with that, it's already accounted for in your Smart Point allowance, and you don't run the risk of going over, okay? So tip number 2, pre-tracking your snacks, all right? I've seen a few people chime in with that one. Someone said about putting their snacks in a high cupboard. That is something that's great to do, out of sight, out of mind. Does wine count as a snack? It's a very good question. Wine doesn't really count as a snack, but there's nothing wrong with wine. It's just making sure that it's in the right portion control, the right amount, which I will get onto later. Amazing, guys. Cool. So the final thing, which is going to get a bit more specific to the app, all right? And I want to show you a couple of features which can be helpful when it comes to tracking and just staying on track in general. So number 1, I'm going to use my phone to show you this. I don't know if you guys knew, but there is a way that you can track foods real quick using the barcode scanner, all right? So I don't know if you've had a little look on this, but I'll give you my best shot on the phone. So there we are. Now, if I click on the top here, where I would go to enter a food type, right there, it says barcode scanner, and it would allow me to scan, funnily enough, the barcode on the back of a packet of food, or say at a bar or something like that. And it will work out automatically the Smart Points of whatever it is, and it allows you to track it real quick, all right? So that's a nice, quick app feature in there. Thank you, Amber. Really, really good. And this also helps if you're out shopping and you're thinking about buying something, you're like, oh, I'm not 100% on that with the Smart Points. Save yourself a bit of time. Grab that barcode scanner, get the item, bosh, there you go. It's all done. All right, so super simple one in the app for you there. Yeah, a nice one, Laura. And now another thing which is helpful, if you're kind of not sure what to go for with regards to what you've got around in your fridge or in your cupboards, you've got something called the what's in your fridge option on the app as well. So again, I'm going to show you how to find it. If I was to go onto my main My Day page there, click in that bit where you would search your foods, and you can see the what's in your fridge option there. Now, what you'll do with this is you would literally look in your fridge or look in your cupboard, and you will type in what you have in terms of ingredients. Say, for example, you've got, I don't know, in the cupboard, you've just got some tins of beans, or you've got, I don't know, some soup. In the fridge, you've got some bits of veg lying around. Now you type in here exactly what you've got, and it will work out recipes for you based on what you've got left in your house, all right? So really, really helpful feature there if you're not sure on what to go for and you've only got a few things remaining in the house and you don't know what to make, all right? So thank you, Jackie. What's in your fridge is super helpful. Now, the final one, app feature, which is something that I've recently discovered myself, so I want to really show it to you guys, is the Blue Dot Challenge. And basically, this is part of the reward structure for Wellness Wins, which rewards you for consecutive tracking, all right? So let me give you an example of my last week so you can see what I mean. So I've got 7 days worth of tracking from last weekend all through until last Friday. And you can see all of those blue dots that are lit up over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, for that consecutive tracking, it recognizes it in your wellness wins, which are that little present icon down there. And if I click on it, you can actually see it says my progress, 1 week of tracking, and I've stayed in the blue dot zone. And 17 days, that's amazing. Now, just to give you an idea of how that translates to points or wellness wins, sorry, and what you can get for that, 7 days of consecutive tracking has earned me 150 wellness wins. Okay, so some great rewards in there for just staying on track. And it hasn't got to be, as I've said, meticulous tracking. Maybe one day you just track your water, or you're just tracking your snacks. All right, it's not every day that has to be perfect, 3 meals, all the snacks, all the water, all the exercise. It's just that you track consecutively in a row. As we know, consistency is one of the main things which helps with staying on track.